Hi, my name is Alejandro. I am representing the Nerdy Basement, and we're going to be talking about your movie, The Tin Can, which you were the director and the co-writer, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Awesome, man.
thanks.
Okay, so what constraints did you face crafting this very minimalistic sci-fi?
All of them probably. It was is that we were working with a small budget, so doing something that has multiple kind of set builds and these full body suits and prosthetics and any basic it was a lot and all when you're making anything in the sci-fi genre that's takes
Mm,
place in the future or something like that, every single piece, every element of the whole film, everything that's on screen has to be created. You can't
yeah.
rely on just backdrops or the forest or
Mhm.
whatever's around. So that was, I guess it was a little more than I expected, just how much art, you know, uh, production work there would be.
Yeah.
So, but it was all challenging. But, it's also fun and it's kind of like you feel like you're, at a fair doing it, or you're a circus performer or traveling with a group of circus performers. And yeah, so it's a bit of hard work, but fun too.
Speaking to say of the production design, what films or what directors or what genres inspired you in terms of the aesthetic? Because the movie is like very filled with aesthetics. So, what
Yeah,
aesthetics
yeah.
did inspire you?
I mean, yeah, it was more like I was, traditionally you see, sci-fi films, they're very, high end. You see a lot of tech and gadgets and gizmos. I was more inspired by making kind of a dungeon film.
Yeah.
So I was going with this medieval kind of darker aesthetic. So I was looking at older films, The
Mm,
Seventh Seal, and just medieval films is kind of what was inspiring me in a way.
okay. So this film was done by 2020. I mean, I saw it the other day, but I know you were doing the rounds of the festival. And I know you probably already mentioned this before because this movie came out before the pandemic. But has the movie, has the perception changed prior to the pandemic and then post pandemic? Have people conflated the analysis of the movie with the pandemic? Because I'm assuming it
Yeah.
happened and it was incidental, but I don't know, do you think it adds to it, it takes away from what you wanted initially to explore? Does it make it even more urgent for people to see the movie? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I've been liking it. I mean, we shot it before the pandemic. I think we're wrapping up editing, at that point when it
Mhm.
started,
Yeah.
and we had already gone through like this, like you said, like a fantasy kind of pandemic, just working in the film, and so yeah, at first we were like, oh no, reality has ripped us off.
Yeah.
uh, but it was I gotta say it has been interesting, yeah. So as it rolled out, it was a bummer not to do the festivals at the time
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. But it has been interesting seeing how people, the meaning of the film has changed for some people. Over the course of this, some people will see it as, it's a film in quarantine where people are only talking over, like devices and but they're very alone. And then it will kind of move. Lately, I find it's kind of moved to, we're living with this horrible thing that's forever stalking us, but it's okay, but it's there, but so is death. It's always around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of neat how how a film can actually be a living thing and also just change as people perceive it differently.
Yeah. So what motivated you to do like essentially a chamber piece? Because it's very interesting. I felt very claustrophobic for like the first 20 minutes because she's there and she's just like wobbling around trying to get away. And then as the movie progresses, of course, you kind of open it up a little bit, but you don't open it up all the way through where you see like full-blown alien invasion or like fungal creatures running about. It's still like very small, very specific, and like I said, it's like a chamber piece. So what motivated you to like do essentially a high concept, but do it in a very minimalistic kind of way.
Well, budget was always the reason, because you think you can, this the less, smaller you go in a way, the cheaper it gets. But
Mm.
I would honestly, the idea it's kind of weird, but I was inspired. I was like thinking a lot about factory farming, and it's there's a lot of animal cruelty, of course, and it's horrific stuff. But I thought I thought it'd be interesting to see that scenario played out with humans in place of the animals, and and yeah, we had been talking. Me and my co-writer Darcy had been talking about doing some sort of prison film, and yeah, I think all that stuff kind of was the base idea and then at a certain point, you get these elements in place, and the movie just tells you what it wants to be.
Yeah. So obviously the movie, it has a very minimal characters. There's not a lot of dialogue except maybe to explain some things, so you kind of like understand the mystery as it unfolds. So there's essentially a lot of silent moments. So how important for you was the sound design, and how much did you think about sound design in pre-production and then in post?
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, I'm always thinking about it because I do the sound design and to do the music. So um, this one more than others, like I planned out music ahead of time, so I could synchronize lighting cues on beats and things like
Yeah,
this.
I
And
noticed that was a cool scene. Yeah,
oh,
it was in the
thanks. Yeah,
hallways, and yeah, I kind of saw like
yeah,
the
yeah.
heartbeat and stuff. I love that. Yeah.
There was a lot of light play.
Mhm.
There's, we had a guy, Keith Mitchell, who actually just, it's very manual. He had a button he was pressing
Yeah.
while looking at a metronome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, usually I do the music after, but this time I had a bit of time to ahead before we were shooting, so I played around with that. And yeah, so it's always important, but it kind of adds another dimension. Your movie's one way when you shoot it, then it's another way when you edit it, and then it's another way when you add music. So
Yeah.
it's always changing.
I dig it because it has very rich soundscape. You have the muffling of the noises. Sometimes you can't understand, but I actually dig that I can't understand it. It's
Oh,
very
good.
like Nolan when he does the sound mixing that
Sure.
people sometimes are like say like, oh, I can't understand this. Well, that's the intentionality behind it. And I like it because it makes sense. People are kind of far away, so she kind of has to like
Right, right.
kind of like get close to kind of understand what they're trying to say. And when they
Yeah.
have the masks on, it's obviously muffled on purpose. So I kind of dig that. And then like these eerie sounds that kind of creep along in the film. It's really cool that way that you kind of like injected that in the film.
Oh, cool. A
Um,
lot of those sounds are in my producer and wife, Nancy Urich. She spent the whole time in the basement making those crazy gooey sounds, and
yeah,
yeah,
it's really
really
cool.
paid off.
So talk to me a little bit more about the cinematography and the conscious decision from starting from again the claustrophobic scenario and kind of opening up the frame as the acts progress.
Yeah, oh, that's cool you picked that out. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the idea is that, yeah, we start very close and, she doesn't know where she is. We have this disorientation and yeah, as we slowly open up parts of the vase, we're seeing a little bit more. And you also, when you're shooting like a very small set like that, it was 3 foot by 5 foot. There's not a lot of places to go, so you got to get creative in the shots. And so I feel like we basically did every single shot you could do in that thing. But it really was like as far as cinematography and editing, it was one of the tougher movies I've done because we really had to plan it, I'll plan a lot of that ahead. You can't just show up on set with a camera and just okay, well, it looks good. It's almost like a puzzle.
Yeah.
It was with this movie.
Reminded me a lot about the movie Buried. I think it's Ryan Reynolds one, and Lock by Tom Hardy,
Yeah,
because it's
we did
just
we did watch Lock. Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, Locke is a great film. So that's why when I saw this, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're going for. And I really dug it because it forces the audience having to deal with what she's dealing with because you literally have nothing else to go for. And since the frame is so tight, you're perceiving it for all from her perspective, where she's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
like very confused. And as she kind of like becomes aware of her surroundings, that's when the image starts to expand and the framing starts to get bigger. So I really dug that because you kind of go along with the journey of the character.
Hmm.
Um, so talk to me about I felt, I don't know if that's intentional or not. I felt a lot of Kubrickian and Cronenberg sensibilities in the film. I don't know if you were going with that, with the little body horror towards the middle and end, and the framing, and especially like the geography of the set design, and the tin and the basement where they were in. It felt kind of like Stanley Kubrick 2001-ish. I don't know if that's what you were going for, or if you were trying to do your own thing, but I dug it. Like, what do you want to mention about that?
Yeah, I mean, I love Kubrick. Cronenberg's a hero of mine. He's Canadian. He does a lot of very intelligent horror movies.
Mhm.
It, yeah, but a lot of the shots, the architecture. I come from a graphic design background,
Yeah.
so I've made I do a lot of I've done a lot of work with design, and it has been a part of my filmmaking process now. When working with my production designer Matt Likely,
Yeah.
and yeah, just figuring out how like the shots look best, and I rarely just throw a camera just willy nilly wherever. It usually it has to be in harmony with the set in some way.
Mhm.
That's just kind of the way I work. I think Kubrick does a lot of that too, and yeah, I think he does very beautiful shots, painterly shots, and
What's your
so.
favorite Cronenberg movie then? If you
Oh, I can't give a favorite. I think I would probably say The Fly
Yeah.
right now because I just did an interview about it on a podcast.
Nice.
But it was also this is one of the first films I saw as a kid where the hero turned into a monster, and
Mhm.
you had this monster protagonist, which was kind of blew my mind at the time.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty cool concept. Did you get to see the last one, the Crimes of the Future?
I did, yeah, I really liked it.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it. I have a friend who loved it. Like he's telling to me like it's the best movie of the year, because he's a really big Cronenberg fan too. So like I take his word, because he knows like when it's like like when it's really good Cronenberg and stuff. So I'm really
Yeah,
excited to go see it when I have the chance.
I definitely liked it. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept. Yeah, Cronenberg tends to find like cool concepts to explore, and kind of goes through it, and I enjoyed that. I found it was like a very funny film too. I
Yeah.
mean, I had a lot of laughs. So I think he
Yeah.
probably would consider it partly a comedy.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
no,
not.
my friend told me the same thing. He told me it was like funny in some places. I'm like, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
he's got a
Uh,
good sense of humor.
oh, definitely he does. Yeah, yeah. I dig him too. Well, yeah, that's all the questions I got. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for the
Oh,
interview.
appreciate it.
I thank you for the movie too, and I hope a lot more people see it. I'm going to be talking about it to all the friends that I know that love these type of very um body horror-ish, sci-fi, minimalistic, but very like uniquely presented sci-fi films. So
No,
yeah,
thank you very much. I
yeah, man.
appreciate it. Nice talking to you.
You too.